So I've got a lot of the engineering problems solved now, or at least well on their way to being solved. The swing arm is mounted and becoming reinforced. The motor mount is more secure. Still needs to do more. I need to weld these two together. Right now they're only bolted, but once it's done, I'll weld them. So there's, the motor mounts are the engineering of that is closer to being done. So what I'm going to do now, another thing, up here, let me move the camera. Up here is the beginnings of the steering motor mount. You guys saw that motor that I made. It's quite long, but it has a plate mount that is going to slide into this groove, and I'm going to make this really solid. That's what I'm going to do now is weld this in more solid. I'm going to bring supports from here up to the original frame, and maybe even down to this frame. I'm not sure, because I want the steering to be very sturdy so it doesn't move around. Right now, the mounts for the swing arms are just mounted temporarily. They're just mounted with just a couple tacks, just to make sure they're in the right spot, and I believe they are. So I can start welding those in, and that's what I'm going to start doing now. I'm going to do all the tack welding that I've been doing, everything that's all tacked together and temporary. I'm going to start taking it apart and doing all of the welds more permanent. So I can be able to flip the frame over and get from underneath. So I have to unstrap it. I just spent a little bit of time cleaning my workspace again. You can never have it too clean or for too long. But so what I'm going to do is I just want to take you through a little bit here of what the process I'm going to use for welding this together. So there's three kinds of welding, or primarily three kinds of welding. There's stick welding, which is meant for very heavy assemblies. If you're going to work on a piece of heavy equipment outside, you're going to weld a big crack, you probably use stick welding. And then there's MIG welding, which is more of a kind of a production style welding. It's got a wire that feeds through a hose with an inert gas. And when you pull the trigger, the wire feeds out and it creates an arc and welds. It's very fast. It's very convenient. It's very easy to learn. You guys will get a chance to learn that in your trades practice. But I'm going to use a third style of welding, and it's called TIG welding. So with TIG welding, it's kind of a multi... hold on, let me get a piece of wire. So this torch right here has electric arc at the end. So the tungsten sticking out, an electric arc comes through this cable here, and then so this creates an electric arc to your work. And while that electric arc is heating up, you can feed this wire in, this welding wire. You can feed it in, and it melts the wire and it creates a weld. And this kind of welding is more artistic. It's more, for me, a smaller scale. It's something that I can do in my garage without really kind of, it's not as intrusive. There's not a huge electric spark, so it's, kind of, I feel it's safer. And you can weld quite small things with this. You can get into quite, it's a little bit awkward because you have to get both things in the same area, but it's a very good way to weld, and I'm just teaching myself how to do that now. So my welds are getting better. I'm looking forward to doing all the welding on this thing so I can get lots of practice. So that's my goal now, is to get some welding and some steel on this thing. So I'm going to start doing that now, and I will probably check in after that's finished.